I had only told my girlfriend, Willow, that I wanted to break up. Yet she suddenly seemed like a completely different person. She no longer kept entangled with her childhood sweetheart, and no matter how late I got off work, she would wait for me to come home. She began caring about my health and diet, started cooking for me herself. After learning that I was interested in photography, she even stayed up late cramming professional knowledge, just to give me the most suitable camera lens. Yet my heart had already gone completely still. I even moved to the suburbs, a place an hour and a half's drive from her company, just to cut off all contact with her once and for all. What I never expected, however, was that the very next day she would appear living right across the hall from me. Only from that day on, she never begged me to change my mind again, and she and I became the neighbors with the most delicate relationship in the world. Chapter 1. I never expected that in the cafe where we were supposed to celebrate our anniversary, Willow would be 2 hours late. Even more unexpected was that her childhood sweetheart, Makoto, personally made her a cup of latte art coffee. Every gaze in the cafe gathered on me, waiting to see how I would react. I lifted my cup, took a sip of my Americano, put on a broad smile, and said, "Impressive skills. So, when did you two get together?" Makoto glanced at me with faint pride and said, "Willow said you've been too busy with work, so I came with her first." Willow explained. "George, I'm sorry. Makoto just happened to be nearby." I gently shook my head. "It's fine. Seeing an old friend on our anniversary isn't bad at all. How about another hug and a photo together? I can help you take it." Last month, at Makoto's startup success celebration, Willow took the initiative to take time off to accompany him. When I questioned why she was always so close to Makoto, she instead accused me of being overly suspicious, saying they were just friends who had grown up together. Because of that, we gave each other the cold shoulder for half a month. Yesterday, Willow sent me the cafe reservation details. I understood, it was her way of offering me a way out. Every time we argued or went cold, I was always the one to break the silence. As for her, after we reconciled, she would give me a small gift or be especially gentle with me for a day. Just like that, I would immediately forget all the previous unhappiness and turn back into George, who catered to her every whim. For the past few years, our relationship had always been like this. She would slap me once, then give me a piece of candy, and I would let everything go. The warmth and coldness of our relationship were entirely under her control. I was like a kite, with the string firmly held in her hand. But this time, when I saw her message, I felt none of the familiar excitement. On every past anniversary, I would remind her days in advance, afraid she might forget. This time I didn't remind her, yet she remembered. I only replied, "Okay, see you at the cafe tomorrow," and then continued working on my code, instead of being happy for half the day just because of a small gesture of kindness from her. Just now, seeing Willow and Makoto sitting together, chatting and laughing, seeing that relaxed expression on her face that I rarely saw, my heart was unexpectedly calm. No disappointment, no anger, no jealousy, only a sense of relief that said, "So that's how it is." I waited another hour. During that time, Willow absent-mindedly chatted with me, her eyes constantly drifting toward Makoto. I glanced at my watch and politely excused myself. "I promised a colleague I'd help fix a bug. I need to head out," Willow said with some dissatisfaction. "On such an important day, you're working overtime." I smiled. "It's fine. You've got Mr. Ito keeping you company anyway." After leaving the cafe, I opened my phone browser and searched for Professional Photographer Certification Exam Registration. As a programmer, I had always had a hidden hobby, photography. But over the past few years, in order to fit Willow's schedule, I had almost given it up entirely. After getting home, I washed up and went straight to sleep. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of the door opening. I knew Willow had come back. She walked lightly to the bedside and stood there for a long time. I could feel her gaze resting on me, but I pretended to be asleep and ignored her. Perhaps she was wondering why I didn't, like before, turn on all the lights and wait for her to come home, then question her about why she had been with Makoto for so long. Every time I questioned her like that in the past, she would look at me coldly, her eyes full of impatience and disdain, as if I were an unreasonable clown making a fuss. Now I finally see it clearly. How ridiculous. Why should I care about someone who doesn't care about me? "George," she called softly. I didn't respond, continuing to pretend to sleep. After a while, she walked away, and the sound of running water came from the bathroom. I opened my eyes in the darkness, my heart calmer than it had ever been before. The next morning, after getting up, I went straight to work. A full day of writing code kept me so busy that time actually passed quickly. After getting off work, I went to a Japanese restaurant for dinner before heading home. As soon as I opened the door, Willow was sitting on the sofa. While changing my shoes, I asked, "Back so early today?" "The project finished ahead of schedule," she said. I nodded, put down my backpack, and was about to head to the study. "George," Willow called out to stop me. "I prepared the anniversary gift a long time ago. She handed me an exquisite box. When I opened it, I saw a high-end camera lens. It was exactly the model I had always wanted but gave up on because it was too expensive. I smiled and said, "Thanks, it's a great gift. I'll try it out this weekend." Just as I was about to leave, Willow grabbed my arm. "About yesterday. I'm sorry I was late." When I was about to leave the office, Makoto suddenly came to see me and said there was something important to discuss. As a friend, I was just helping him. I interrupted her. "I believe you. Starting a business isn't easy for Mr. Ito. He needs support from friends. I still have some code to debug, so I'll get back to work." "George." She still didn't let go. I looked at her in confusion. "What is it?" "I haven't had dinner yet." "Oh, I already ate. Just order some takeout." With that, I shook off her hand and walked straight into the study. I had just sat down when I heard a loud bang from outside, the sound of the door slamming shut. Willow had left. She gave me a gift and took the initiative to apologize. Yet I didn't take the way out she offered. She was angry. Chapter 2. Willow and I fell into another Cold War. In the past, every time we stopped talking, I would be restless, racking my brain to find ways to make her forgive me. But now, after a few days of silence, I actually felt an unprecedented sense of ease. At night, Willow slept in the guest bedroom. I had the entire king-size bed to myself and slept better than usual. In the mornings, I no longer had to wake up early to prepare breakfast for her, so I could sleep an extra half hour every day. At work, my efficiency improved noticeably. I no longer stared at my phone waiting for her replies, nor did I constantly think of her face. Tasks that used to require daily overtime were now often finished ahead of schedule. After work, I was no longer in a rush to go home and cook. For Willow's health, I had once taught myself solid cooking skills, changing up dishes every day to suit her tastes. Yet being able to eat dinner at home twice a week was already considered good for her. Once I stopped revolving my life around Willow, I suddenly had a large amount of free time. I picked up my camera again, searching for beautiful light and shadows in the corners of the city. I even signed up for a photography training course to prepare for a professional certification. At the office, I overheard a new intern talking about learning a new front-end framework. Listening to her excitedly describe her study plan, I suddenly felt a wave of shame. I had been working for 5 years, yet my tech stack hadn't been updated in a long time. Thinking about it, it made sense. Over these years, my only life goal had been marrying Willow. Everything else felt unimportant. I once naively believed that as long as I could build a family with Willow and take care of our small everyday life, that would be the greatest happiness. If she wanted me to quit my job and stay at home, I would have agreed without hesitation. Now, that way of thinking seemed utterly ridiculous. After sobering up, I finally realized how much of a failure I had been. In the relationship, I gave endlessly without receiving equal return. She wouldn't even give me a promise of marriage. At work, I had made no progress, and my competitiveness in the job market was steadily declining. I decided to change. First, I updated my knowledge base. I bought the latest technical courses and set aside 2 hours every evening to study. Next came improving my photography skills, attending training sessions on weekends and preparing for certification exams. Finally, fitness. I signed up for a gym membership and started exercising regularly. These past few days, Willow had been coming home very late every night. That was perfect. The apartment was quiet, and I could focus on studying and practicing photography. During lunch break, while scrolling through my social feed, I saw Willow post an update, a rare occurrence. There was only one photo, no text at all. In the picture was a dining table with exquisite dishes and 2 coffee cups. At the corner of the table, a hand was visible, with the bracelet I had given her on the wrist. I knew Willow too well. Posting a photo of her dining with Makoto was meant to provoke my jealousy. But strangely, I no longer felt that familiar surge of anger. I glanced at it once, then continued scrolling through other content. In the evening, I received a call from Willow. Her tone was calm. "I'll pick you up after work." Instinctively, I wanted to refuse. "No need. I'm working overtime today. We'll be back late." "How late?" she pressed. "Probably around 8. I made up a time casually. "Okay, I'll wait for you downstairs at 8. She hung up right after saying that. To keep up the lie, I didn't leave after work. Instead, I took out my photography textbooks and studied at a cafe near the office. At 8 o'clock, I packed up, grabbed my camera, and went downstairs. I spotted the familiar white SUV at a glance. I walked over and opened the door, only to find Makoto sitting in the passenger seat. Makoto smiled. "George, I was just discussing a project with Willow. She said she'd give me a ride back since it's on the way." I nodded and quietly opened the back door and sat inside. As long as Makoto was around, I had never sat in the front passenger seat. Willow and I had argued about this more than once, but she always said Makoto got carsick and needed to sit in front, that I was making a fuss over trivial things. I said the passenger seat was my exclusive place as her boyfriend, but she mocked me for being childish. In this matter, I had never won against Makoto, but now, I no longer cared. Makoto, the tiramisu at that cafe today was amazing. Let's go again next time, Willow said excitedly. Makoto smiled and nodded. Sure, if you like it. I'll take you every week. Willow's voice was light. You always get the coffee ratios just right for me. You're so thoughtful. I'm used to it. I know you like extra sugar and less milk. Next time I'll make it for you too. No need. Just enjoy it, Makoto said. Then suddenly turned to me. What kind of coffee does George like? Should Willow make one for you as well? I recalled the first time I took Willow to that cafe she liked. I carefully made a cup of coffee exactly to her taste, but she had replied coldly, "Thanks, but I can make it myself." From that moment on, I never made coffee for her again. Chapter 3. I looked up at Makoto. The light inside the car was dim, but I could still see the provocation in his eyes. He had always been like this, deliberately trying to irritate me, then waiting for Willow to step in and defend him. This time, however, I realized that I no longer had any urge to fight back at all. Seeing that I didn't react, Makoto frowned slightly and turned back to chatting with Willow. Her attitude toward him was noticeably gentler than toward me. Listening to their conversation, I felt a wave of exhaustion and, without realizing it, fell asleep. When I woke up, the car was already parked at the entrance of our residential complex, and Makoto was gone. I straightened up, opened the car door, and asked, "Why didn't you wake me when we got home?" Willow followed behind me in silence. It wasn't until we entered the apartment that she spoke. "Are you very tired?" "What?" I asked. Makoto and I were still talking, and you fell asleep in the back seat. I guess I was a bit tired. I had no interest in continuing the topic. I just wanted to shower and sleep. Today was a company project meeting. Colleagues from the marketing department were there too. Makoto attended as a representative of the investors. She suddenly began to explain. After the meeting, everyone went for coffee together. It wasn't just me and him. That was strange. In the past, whenever I questioned why she was always with Makoto, she never explained. Now that I wasn't asking anymore, she was explaining on her own. I nodded and headed toward the bathroom. "I wanted to invite you to join us, but you said you were working overtime," she continued explaining. "Got it. I'm going to take a shower first." I quickened my pace. After showering, I went straight to bed. The next evening after work, I saw Willow's car parked outside the company again. This time, she was alone in the car. I still sat in the back seat. Willow glanced at me, as if she wanted to say something but stopped herself. "There's a photography exhibition today. I made plans with a colleague to go see it," I said as the car started moving. Willow tightened her grip on the steering wheel and asked, "With whom?" "Alicia from the tech department. She likes photography too." That in turn, Willow's tone sounded a little off. "Yeah, she's already been made permanent and works on front-end development. I'll drive you there." "No need." We agreed to meet at the exhibition hall entrance. "Just drop me off at home so I can change." Back home, I changed my clothes and was about to head out when Willow suddenly came out of the room. She had changed into casual clothes as well. "I'll go take a look too," she said. "I've been looking for design inspiration lately anyway." I was a bit surprised, but didn't refuse. "Sure, let's go together." When we arrived at the entrance of the exhibition hall, Alicia was already waiting. She was 2 years younger than me, had just recently become a full-time employee after her internship, and had an outgoing, lively personality with great enthusiasm for photography. Seeing that I had brought Willow along, she froze for a moment, then greeted her warmly. "Hi, Willow. I didn't expect you to come too. This is great. I heard from George that there's a photography exhibition, so I came along to take a look," Willow replied calmly. The three of us entered the exhibition hall together. Alicia was curious about every piece and frequently discussed shooting techniques and composition ideas with me. Willow walked beside us, unusually silent. Halfway through the exhibition, Alicia suddenly pointed at a landscape photo. "This composition is really special. Look at the perspective. It seems like it was shot with a tilt-shift lens." "Yes, this kind of lens can," I was about to explain when Willow suddenly picked up the conversation. "This was taken with a tilt-shift lens. It changes the parallel relationship between the lens and the sensor, creating a miniature model effect," she said smoothly. When she looked at me, there was a faint smile at the corner of her lips. Alicia looked at her in surprise. "You know photography too, Willow?" "Not really. I've just heard George talk about it many times," Willow said lightly, though her eyes never left my face. I was stunned. I hadn't expected her to remember the photography knowledge I once excitedly explained to her. Back then, she had looked distracted, and I assumed she hadn't listened at all. After finishing the exhibition, Alicia suggested going to a nearby restaurant for dinner. Willow glanced at her watch and said, "Sorry, I still have some work to take care of. You two go ahead. I'll walk you back," I said. "No need. You go eat. I'll call a car myself." With that, she turned and left, her steps slightly hurried. Alicia asked awkwardly, "Did I interrupt your date?" "No, we decided to come together at the last minute," I explained. "Let's go eat." During dinner, Alicia and I talked a lot about photography and technology. She asked whether Willow also liked photography. I don't think she really likes it. She just hears me talk about it occasionally, I replied. Alicia smiled. But she seems to remember it really well, even the principle behind a tilt-shift lens. I think she cares a lot about you. I fell silent. Maybe. But to Willow, Makoto might be more important. When I got home that night, Willow was already asleep. The next morning, when I got up, I found that she was already awake, with a hot breakfast laid out on the table. Good morning. I made your favorite fried egg sandwich, she said with a smile. Thanks, but I already arranged to carpool with a colleague today. I checked the time. I need to head out. Don't rush. I'll drive you, she said, stopping me. No need. We already agreed, and I've paid my share of the fare. Then I'll drive you starting tomorrow, she insisted. This is fine for now. Haven't you always said you wanted to sleep in a bit in the mornings? I said as I put on my shoes, getting ready to leave. Willow followed me and said, I'll start waking up early with you. I turned around and looked at her curiously. Why the sudden enthusiasm? She lowered her head and said, I want to spend more time with you. All right, we'll talk about it next month. I've already paid my colleague for this month, I said, then closed the door and left. Chapter 4. Willow's change came too suddenly, leaving me a little unsettled. For the past few years, I had grown used to chasing after her back. Now that our roles had reversed, I found myself at a loss. After work one evening, I walked out of the company building and saw Willow's car again. I had intended to refuse, but thinking that there were some things that really needed to be talked through face to face, I got into the car. This time, I sat in the passenger seat. Once inside, I noticed a photography magazine placed there, the latest issue. I bought it for you, Willow said as she started the car. I saw the new issue at the bookstore and picked it up. Thanks. I flipped it open and saw that several pages were marked with sticky notes. She explained, those pages talk about things to watch out for when taking the certification exam. I thought they might be helpful to you. I stopped turning the pages and asked, how did you know I'm planning to take the exam? I saw you reading photography textbooks a few days ago, she said softly. I know you've always wanted to get a photographer's certification. The car fell silent for a moment before Willow spoke again. I'm sorry, I ignored you too much in the past. Her words moved me slightly, but also made me more clear-headed. Was her change simply because she had sensed my distance? George, lately tonight I'm having dinner with colleagues. Please drop me off at the intersection ahead. I interrupted her. Which colleagues? From the tech department. A project just wrapped up, so we're celebrating. Willow bit her lip. Will that Alicia be there too? Probably. She's part of the team. I'm worried about you drinking. What time will it end? I'll come pick you up. I'm not sure. It might be late. You should go home and rest. I can wait, she insisted. Really? No need. I'll take a cab back. When we reached the restaurant, she suddenly grabbed me before I got out of the car. George, I know I haven't done well lately, but I'll change. Really? I paused, then said, change doesn't need to be this deliberate. Just be yourself. The colleague dinner was lively, and everyone drank quite a bit. I had a few drinks myself and felt slightly tipsy. Alicia suggested going to sing karaoke together. I checked the time. It was already 9:30. I'll pass. I still have work tomorrow. George, we finally got together. Come on, my colleagues teased. While I was hesitating, I received a message from Willow. I'm outside the restaurant. Have you been drinking? I stepped outside and, sure enough, saw her standing by the roadside. Why are you here? I asked, surprised. I was worried you drank too much. She walked over and supported me. I'll take you home. After getting into the car, she buckled my seatbelt for me but didn't start driving right away. She turned toward me and gently hugged me. So this is what it feels like to wait for someone. I'm sorry, George. I made you wait so many times before. I gently pushed her away. Let's drive. I want to go home and sleep. She smiled and rubbed my head. With that little alcohol tolerance, you still dare to drink? That kind of intimacy left me a bit dazed. Once upon a time, this was the tenderness I longed for. Now, though, there was a strange sense of distance in my heart. In the days that followed, Willow seemed like a completely different person. She picked me up and dropped me off on time every day, stopped going out with colleagues, and insisted on cooking dinner at home every night while waiting for me. She even began sharing her daily life with me, sending messages to ask what I'd eaten or what I'd seen. What surprised me most was that she started seriously learning about photography, buying many professional books and occasionally discussing shooting techniques with me. Once, she even said she wanted to go to the suburbs with me to shoot the sunrise. Her change genuinely moved me, but at the same time, it made me feel pressured. Especially when I was studying or practicing photography, she would come in from time to ask if I wanted water or if I was tired, interrupting my train of thought. So I started lying again, saying that work projects were intense and I needed to work overtime often. In reality, after work I would go to a cafe near the company to study on my own and enjoy some solitude. One evening after work, I went to my usual cafe again. About 2 hours later, the cafe suddenly lost power. The staff said it was a wiring issue and would take some time to fix. I packed up my things, planning to go to another cafe to continue. As soon as I stepped outside, I heard Willow's voice. George. She was standing across the street, holding a thermos. Seeing my expression, she said softly, I know you're not working overtime. You've been studying here these past few days. Are you following me? I asked, displeased. I'm worried about you, she said as she walked closer. Why lie to me? If you want to study quietly, I can leave you alone at home. I took a deep breath. Let's talk at home. After we went inside, just as I was changing my shoes, Willow spoke. Are you tired of me? I froze for a moment and didn't deny it immediately. Lately, you'd rather study outside than come home. Am I not doing well enough? If there's anything you're unhappy with, tell me, I can change it all. Her tone carried a hint of pleading. Looking at her anxious expression, I finally made up my mind. I think we need to talk seriously about our relationship. George. Oh, right. I almost forgot. I'm going on a business trip to City A tomorrow. Willow suddenly interrupted. Let's rest early tonight and talk after I get back. Okay. I noticed a flash of panic in her eyes and could only nod. All right. Have you packed yet? Not yet. Then go pack. I'll take a shower first. In the past, every time Willow went on a business trip, I was the one who packed for her, carefully preparing everything she needed. But now, I didn't have the heart for it anymore. The next morning, watching Willow leave with her suitcase, I unexpectedly felt a sense of relief. At last, I could quietly think about our relationship without having to take her feelings into account. Chapter 5. On the third day of Willow's business trip, I received a call from Makoto at noon. George, Willow has a high fever. She's at Central Hospital now, he said, his voice tinged with urgency. I rushed to the hospital and saw Willow leaning weakly against the chair, her face pale, clearly quite ill. Aren't you supposed to be in City A? I walked over to her, puzzled. Willow opened her eyes. Seeing me, surprise flashed across her face, quickly followed by awkwardness. George, why are you here? Who told you? I did, Makoto said as he walked in with a cup of hot water. I thought that as her boyfriend, you had the right to know. I turned to Willow. So you didn't go on a business trip? She lowered her head, her voice weak. I'm sorry, I lied. I understood. She was avoiding the issue. She had realized there were problems between us, but she didn't want to face them. The last time I tried to talk about our relationship, she had escaped using the excuse of a business trip, choosing to stay in a hotel rather than confront me directly. Willow, running away won't solve anything, I said calmly. Makoto suddenly cut in. You should be more understanding. Willow's been staying in a hotel these past few days because she was afraid you'd be angry. She loves you so much, yet you don't care about her feelings at all. She's the one who said she was going on a business trip, I replied. Willow looked up at me, her eyes pleading. George, can we talk after I get better? All right, I nodded. Get some good rest. I'll head back to work. George, you're just leaving like this? She stared at me in disbelief. I looked at her and said, it's just a cold and a fever. You're an adult. You don't need to be this fragile, do you? At those words, Willow snapped her head up. Shock and hurt filled her eyes. She understood immediately. This was exactly what she had said to me last year. Last winter, I had suddenly come down with a high fever and went alone to the hospital at night for an 4 drip, watching other patients being accompanied by loved ones while I sat there alone. I couldn't help but call Willow, hoping she would come keep me company. She had rejected me coldly. You're an adult. You don't need to be so fragile, do you? It's just a cold. Without me, can't you even get in 4? On the other end of the phone, there was loud KTV noise, and Makoto's voice shouted, Willow, it's your turn to pick a song. That chill in my heart, I remember it vividly to this day. Yet I had no backbone. After only a few days of Cold War, she coaxed me back, and I gave in. Now, as she tasted the same bitterness herself, regret and understanding finally appeared in her eyes. Makoto couldn't stand it anymore and said, George, you've gone too far. She's sick, and you're ignoring her and even blaming her instead. I smiled faintly. See, someone cares about you. With that, I turned and left. That night, Willow didn't come home. She sent a message saying she would stay at the hotel for now and come back to talk properly after she recovered. In truth, I had already made my decision about our relationship, breaking up. It wasn't an impulsive choice, but the result of careful thought over this period of time. Since I no longer loved her, there was no reason to keep going. Once, I believed we would get married, have children, and walk through life together. But now, cutting losses in time wasn't a bad thing either. Nearly 30. I might never meet someone who made my heart race like that again, but so what? Life isn't only about love. Starting over at this age isn't too late. I don't regret this relationship. At the beginning, we truly loved each other, and I experienced what it felt like to be loved. In this relationship, I loved deeply, gave sincerely, and gained something in return. This experience made me more mature and taught me how to love myself and let go. Just as I was thinking about how to bring up the breakup with Willow, I received a call from my parents. "George, your dad's been complaining about leg pain lately. We went to the hospital, but they couldn't find anything." My mother said worriedly, "Come over tomorrow. I'll take Dad to a major hospital for a comprehensive checkup." "Mom, you should get a physical too," I said. My parents lived in a small city about a 2-hour drive away. I took 2 days off. The next day, I went to the station to pick them up. After the examinations, thankfully, my father didn't have any serious issues, he just needed proper care. My mother's checkup was completely normal as well. With the remaining time, I showed my parents around the city and took quite a few photos. Before they left, I picked a group photo of the 3 of us and posted it on my social feed. Just after posting, Willow called. "Uncle and Auntie are here?" she asked urgently. "Yeah. Why didn't you tell me?" "Why should I? I could have come with you and shown them around the city. Didn't you say you're not good at interacting with elders and weren't ready to meet the parents yet?" I asked back. Silence fell on the other end of the line. "Let's talk tonight. We can't keep dragging this out," I said, then hung up. In 7 years of dating, Willow and I had never met each other's parents. At first, we were too young and didn't think that far ahead. After I turned 25, I began considering marriage. Last spring festival, I suggested taking her back to my hometown. She refused, saying it was too sudden and she wasn't mentally prepared. A few months later, when my parents came to the city to travel, I wanted her to accompany us. She made excuses again. She said she wasn't good at dealing with elders and wasn't ready to meet parents yet, even complaining that I was putting too much pressure on her. After that, I never brought up meeting parents again. After seeing my parents off, I returned home, ready to have a showdown with Willow. I had just sat down when the doorbell rang. Chapter 6. I opened the door and saw Willow standing outside, holding several exquisitely wrapped gift boxes. She asked nervously, "Are Uncle and Auntie still here?" "I bought some gifts. They've just left," I replied coldly. "I'm sorry, George." She lowered her head. "I was too willful before. You kept bringing up meeting your parents, and I kept putting it off. Actually, I really wanted to formally meet Uncle and Auntie. It's just I always felt I wasn't good enough. There's no need to bring up the past anymore." As I spoke, I stepped aside to let her in. "We need to talk." As soon as we sat down, I went straight to the point. "Willow, I've thought about a lot of things during this time. The problems between us have existed for a long time. I just kept choosing to ignore them. Now I've figured it out. George, let's get married." She suddenly interrupted, pulling a velvet box out of her bag. Inside was a men's ring, simple and refined. Exactly the style I once pointed out to her in a magazine and said I really liked. "I've been thinking about us these past few days," she said nervously. "I know I didn't do well before, but I truly love you. I'm willing to change, willing to become the kind of partner you want." I had never imagined that one day Willow would propose to me. Once, I longed desperately to build a family with her, and now, my heart felt nothing at all. "I'm not willing," I said calmly. She seemed to have expected it and gave a bitter smile. "Is it because of the anniversary day?" "Not entirely." I shook my head. "That day was just the last straw. Our problems have been around for a long time. They just kept piling up until they finally exploded." "I know. It's all my fault," she said, choking up. "George, please give me one more chance. I'll change. I'll become the perfect girlfriend in your eyes, until you're willing to marry me. I'll wake up early every day to make your favorite breakfast, pick you up and drop you off from work. The passenger seat will always be yours. On holidays, I'll go take photos with you, anywhere you want to go. I won't keep going out with friends all the time anymore. I'll come home on time every day to be with you. I promise I won't forget your birthday again, and I won't miss any important day ever again." I looked at her without saying a word. She grew more frantic. "I mishandled things with Makoto. From now on, I won't contact him anymore. I won't see him. I'll delete all his contact information." I sighed. "Willow, you know exactly what you did wrong, and you know what the right thing to do is, but you just refuse to do what you already know. Why? Because you never truly cared about me. You relied on the fact that I loved you, ignored my needs, and believed that no matter how you treated me, I would never leave." "That's not true," she cried. "I love you. I've always loved you." Loving someone means caring, being considerate, and showing respect, not acting on impulse, being hot and cold whenever you feel like it. I looked straight into her eyes. "All I ever felt from you was indifference and disregard. The person you truly cared about was Makoto. With him, you were always attentive and accommodating. That's what love looks like. I thought I still had feelings for him too," she said softly. "But that was just an illusion. When I realized I might lose you, I finally understood how much I love you. Just thinking about a life without you makes me feel unbearable pain. Makoto has dated so many girlfriends, but I never felt like this. I was even driven mad with jealousy just seeing you ride in the same car with a female colleague. I don't love you anymore," I said calmly. "I don't want to keep wronging myself. I deserve a better relationship. Someone who truly loves me. Willow covered her face in despair and cried silently. Just as I was about to go pack my things, the doorbell rang again. When I opened the door, Makoto stood outside, anxiety written all over his face. Willow, why did you delete me on WeChat? Why won't you answer my calls? He shoved past me and rushed inside. When he saw Willow, he dropped to his knees in front of her. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I shouldn't have spoken like that. I just cared too much about you. He turned to me, his tone resentful. George, don't think you've won. She'll come back to me sooner or later. The one she's always loved is me. Do whatever you want, I said, walking into the bedroom and starting to pack my luggage. Suddenly, an angry shout came from the living room. Get out. Then Makoto's incredulous voice followed. Willow, you actually yelled at me for him. We've known each other for so many years, you've never gotten angry at me before. I don't want to repeat myself a second time. Get out of my house right now. Willow's voice was cold and resolute. A few minutes later, there was the heavy sound of the door slamming shut. I packed only the bare essentials. 2 suitcases were enough. When I came out of the bedroom, Willow blocked my way, begging, George, please don't go. Willow, that's enough. I walked past her, dragging my suitcases toward the door. At the doorway, her voice came from behind me. You'll never forgive me, will you? Without turning my head, I said, goodbye, Willow. Walking out that door, I also walked out of 7 years of love and obsession. Chapter 7. Because I had prepared in advance, I had already found an apartment online. Just as I dragged my suitcases into a taxi, I heard Willow calling out behind me, George, wait. Then my phone rang. Even if we've broken up, can't we at least remain friends? Her voice carried bitterness. Only now do I realize how terribly unqualified I was as a girlfriend. I habitually ignored your feelings and disappointed you far too many times. No wonder you left me. It's all my own doing. George, I will change and become a better version of myself. One day, you'll see a different me. Don't give up on love because of someone like me. I believe you'll meet someone better. I let out a soft sigh and said, there's no need. A breakup is a breakup. Let's each live well from now on. My new life quickly fell into rhythm. Organizing my new place, working seriously, making time to take photos and study. From early morning to late at night, every day was packed, but this kind of busyness made me feel fulfilled. I signed up for the photographer certification exam and joined Alicia for several outdoor photography sessions. She was very talented, her photos full of emotion and impact. We became good friends and photography partners. Time passed quickly, and I barely had any time to think about Willow until one day after work, when I opened my apartment door and froze in place. How are you here? I couldn't believe my eyes. Willow was standing in front of the apartment across the hall, holding grocery bags. Coming home, she said, pointing to the door opposite mine. You've got to be joking. I'm not joking. She shook the bags in her hands. I just bought some groceries at the market. I'm making boiled fish tonight. Want to eat together? Willow, are you out of your mind? Why would you move here? I said, irritated. I'm not crazy. I just wanted to be closer to you, she said with a smile. You're an adult. You should have basic judgment. I couldn't help saying, you have your own apartment downtown. Why would you rent a place in such a remote area? It takes an hour and a half to get from here to your company. How much extra time are you wasting on the road every day? It's worth it, she said softly. Being able to see you occasionally makes it worth it. Suit yourself. I shook my head, turned around, went inside, and shut the door. True to her word, Willow didn't bother me because our work schedules were different. We rarely ran into each other. I left at 7 every morning and usually came back around 8 or 9 at night. She left for work a little after 5 and returned around 6. Occasionally, we would meet in the elevator and simply nod in greeting. This Sunday, I was taking the photographer certification exam. The night before, I checked all my exam supplies and went to bed confident and ready. The next morning, I went downstairs to take a taxi to the exam site, only to find that my booked ride had been cancelled at the last minute. I tried several more bookings, all cancelled due to traffic congestion. Watching the minutes tick by, I began to panic. Just as I was about to run to the subway station, a familiar white SUV stopped in front of me. Get in, I'll drive you to the exam, Willow said, rolling down the window. In my urgency, I didn't think much and got in right away. Thanks, I said, wiping sweat from my forehead. How did you know I had an exam today? I saw you preparing for it recently and checked. There really is an exam this month, she said, focusing on the road. Don't worry, the exam site isn't far. We'll make it. After the exam, I can get back on my own. You don't need to wait for me. She didn't respond, just kept driving attentively. Along the way, I noticed a document folder in the small storage compartment beside the passenger seat. Inside are some tools you might need for the exam, Willow said. Pens, pencils, erasers, a ruler, everything, just in case. I opened it and saw that everything was indeed prepared, even a calculator. Feeling a little uncomfortable, I said, You didn't have to do all this. Her tone was calm. I just wanted to be able to help when you needed it. I knew you had an exam today and was worried you'd be nervous and forget something. When I saw your ride got cancelled, I drove over. After arriving at the exam site, I thanked her again and hurried inside. The exam went more smoothly than expected. The questions were all within what I had reviewed. 2.5 hours later, I walked out and was surprised to see Willow still waiting at the entrance. Why are you still here? I asked. I was worried it'd be inconvenient for you to get back. She said lightly. I've already waited over 2 hours. What's a little longer? Considering it really was hard to get a ride. I nodded. Then I'll trouble you. After getting in the car, she asked how the exam went. We started chatting about photography, and the atmosphere turned unexpectedly relaxed. Willow's understanding of photography was clearly much deeper than before. She spoke fluently and confidently. Curious, I asked. When did you become so interested in photography? I've always been interested. She smiled. I just didn't show it before. Recently I bought some books and studied seriously. I realized it's genuinely fascinating. Watching her focused profile as she drove, I noticed she looked thinner than before. Her complexion not as healthy as it used to be. Have you been okay lately? I couldn't help asking. Pretty good, she said softly. I've had a breakthrough at work. An ad campaign I did last month received high praise from the client, and I even won the department's Excellence Award. Congratulations, I said sincerely. Thank you. She turned and smiled at me, a firmness in her eyes I had never seen before. I'm working hard to become a better version of myself. Not for anyone else, just for me. Back at the apartment building, we walked toward the elevator together. After a moment of silence, Willow spoke. I know you might not want to hear this, but I still want to say it. What is it? I won't give up on pursuing you. She looked straight into my eyes. Not as I am now, but as a better version of myself in the future. I'll first learn to love myself, become more independent and stronger, and then come back to prove that I'm worthy of your love. As the elevator reached our floor and the doors opened, she added, no matter the outcome, I won't regret it, because this process itself has already helped me grow so much. Chapter 8. In the days that followed, Willow and I maintained a delicate distance. She no longer deliberately approached me, but would occasionally share her life and work on social media. I noticed that she truly was making an effort to improve herself, attending professional training, learning new skills, and trying out different hobbies. A month later, she posted an update that read, finished my first half marathon. My legs are about to give out, but it feels amazing. The photo showed her holding a finisher's medal. Her face lit up with a genuine smile. I knew how much Willow used to hate exercise. She once said she would rather spend twice as much money on a taxi than walk an extra 10 minutes. Seeing her change, I couldn't help but give the post a like. A few days later, I received my exam pass notification. In my excitement, my first instinct was actually to tell Willow. After hesitating for a long time, I put my phone down. On my way home from work, I ran into Willow in the elevator. She looked more tired than usual, her arms filled with stacks of design drafts. Working overtime? I asked. Yeah, the company took on a big project, so it's been really busy lately. She smiled wearily. The exam results are out. I passed, I said suddenly. She immediately broke into a sincere smile. Really? That's amazing. I knew you could do it. Thanks for driving me to the exam that day. It was nothing, she said lightly. By the way, are you interested in shooting a sunrise on an island this weekend? I saw a photography group organizing a trip. Great location. They say the dawn there is especially beautiful. I hesitated. Aren't you really busy? No matter how busy work is, you still need rest. She shrugged. And I want to improve my photography too. I already made plans with colleagues from work, I said. Alicia. I nodded. Yeah, her and a few people from the tech department. Oh, she nodded as well. A trace of disappointment flickered in her eyes, but quickly faded. Then I hope you all have a great time. The elevator arrived at our floor. She stepped out first, then turned back and added, if you get any beautiful shots, remember to share them. The island trip that weekend was wonderful. Alicia and I, along with a few colleagues, took many stunning landscape photos. At sunrise, the breathtaking scene where sea and sky blended into one was truly awe-inspiring. I posted a few selected photos on my social feed. Willow was the first to like them. One evening after returning, as I was heading home from work, I heard an argument in the hallway. Walking closer, I saw Makoto standing outside Willow's apartment door. Willow, don't go too far, he shouted. We've known each other for so many years. This is how you treat me. Makoto, I've made myself very clear. We're not suitable for each other, Willow said calmly. Please leave. Because of him. Makoto turned and saw me, hatred filling his eyes. George, don't get smug. She's rejecting me now just to prove something to you. This has nothing to do with him, Willow said firmly. It's my own choice. Makoto sneered. Don't forget how much you loved me back then, how desperately you chased after me. Yes, I once loved you very much, Willow said evenly. But that's in the past. Now, I care more about my own dignity and principles. I didn't intervene and quietly walked toward my own apartment. Willow's words echoed in my ears. Now, I care more about my own dignity and principles. That sentence gave me a new understanding of her. Perhaps she really had changed. After I opened my door, I could still faintly hear the argument outside. After a while, everything fell silent. I guessed Makoto had finally left. The next morning, just as I was getting ready to head out for work, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, I saw Willow standing there, holding an exquisitely packaged cake box. "Good morning," she said with a smile. "Congratulations on passing the exam. I made a cake to celebrate." I was a little surprised. "You know how to bake?" I followed a video tutorial, she said. "First attempt, no idea how it tastes." She handed it to me. "It's matcha cake. I remember you like matcha-flavored desserts." I took the box and opened it. The craftsmanship wasn't professional, but it was clearly made with care. "Thank you. That's very thoughtful," I said. She glanced at the time. "I won't delay you from work. You can try it tonight. If it's not good, just throw it away." With that, she turned to leave. "What about last night? Are you okay?" I couldn't help asking. She paused, then turned back and smiled. "I'm fine, honestly. This should have happened a long time ago. Makoto isn't someone worth trusting. It just took me too long to see him clearly. But seeing it now isn't too late." That evening, I tried the cake she had made. It tasted unexpectedly good. The bitterness of the matcha and the sweetness of the cream were perfectly balanced. As I ate, a memory suddenly surfaced from when we first met. Back then, in the university cafeteria, Willow and I had both reached for the last piece of matcha cake. She smiled and said, "How about we split it?" And just like that, we shared that cake and began to get to know each other. The National Day holiday was approaching, and a few photography enthusiast friends and I were planning a trip to Hong Kong to shoot night scenes. 2 days before departure, Willow called me. "George, I saw online that the scenery at Valley of the Nine Villages is especially beautiful right now," she said. "I booked 2 plane tickets and wanted to ask if you'd like to go together." "Sorry, I already made plans to go to Hong Kong with friends," I replied directly. "Oh, that's a pity. Autumn is the most beautiful season at Valley of the Nine Villages. I even applied for leave especially for it." "I've already been there," I interrupted. She sounded surprised. "When?" "Last October." There was silence on the other end of the line. I knew she had remembered. "Last National Day. We had originally planned to go to Valley of the Nine Villages together. I had spent a lot of time planning the itinerary, booking hotels, and renting a car. The day before we were supposed to leave, Makoto called saying he was in a bad mood and wanted someone to talk to. Willow canceled the trip without hesitation, saying we could go another time. I was extremely disappointed and angry back then. "We planned this for so long, and you're just canceling it like that?" She replied impatiently. "It's just a trip. Makoto needs a friend right now. Valley of the Nine Villages isn't going anywhere. We can go anytime in the future." In the end, I went to Valley of the Nine Villages alone. It was my first solo trip, and unexpectedly, I gained many beautiful photos and unforgettable experiences. When I got back, Willow never mentioned my trip at all, as if it had completely slipped her mind. "So, you went by yourself?" she asked softly. "Yes, I had a great time. I'm sorry." Her voice choked slightly. "I always let you down." "It's in the past now," I said. "I hope you enjoy your trip to Valley of the Nine Villages. I'll cancel the tickets," she said. Going alone doesn't feel meaningful. After hanging up, I felt a little dazed. Willow's change was real, but the shadows of the past were not so easily erased. Chapter 9. I spent a wonderful holiday in Hong Kong with my friends. I took many night photos, and several of them received unanimous praise in our photography group. On the final night, we had dinner together at a restaurant by Victoria Harbour. Everyone had a great time. When I got home, I found a package at my door. Inside was a set of professional photography filters, the exact model I had been wanting but hesitated to buy because of the price. There was a card inside. "People say these filters work especially well for shooting sunsets. I hope they can add some color to your work. Have a great trip, Willow." Holding the filters, I felt conflicted. The gift was thoughtful and showed that she truly paid attention to my interests and needs. But could the wounds of the past really be erased? The next morning on my way to work, I ran into Willow in the elevator. She looked more energetic than usual, wearing a light blue dress, radiating a renewed sense of vitality. "Thank you for the filters," I said. "You're welcome." She smiled, then asked, "Do they work well?" "I haven't had the chance to try them yet, but they look very professional." "Give them a try when you have time," she said. "Oh, by the way, I entered a design competition last week and won second prize." "Congratulations," I said sincerely. "Actually, I should thank you," she said, her eyes full of sincerity. "Because of you, I started re-examining myself and working hard to become a better person. No matter how things end up between us, this experience has benefited me greatly." The elevator arrived, and we went our separate ways. As I walked toward the company, I found myself thinking about her words. Willow was indeed becoming better, more like the confident, independent girl I once fell for. But could love really be rekindled? I wasn't sure. That weekend, I was at home organizing photos when the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, it was Alicia. George, a few people from our department are heading out to the suburbs this afternoon to take photos. Want to join us? She asked excitedly. Sure, I said with a smile. Perfect chance to try out the new filters. Just then, the door across the hall opened. Willow stepped out and froze when she saw us. Hi, Alicia greeted her warmly. Hello, Willow replied with a strained smile, then lowered her head and hurried away. The photography outing that day was great. I used the new filters to shoot a set of sunset photos, and the results were noticeably better than before. Alicia learned quickly, and we discussed composition and lighting at length. On the way back, Alicia suddenly asked, George, you and Willow, were you together before? We dated for 7 years, I answered simply. Wow, that long, she said in surprise. Then why? Some things spoil over time, I sighed. She still seems to love you a lot, Alicia said thoughtfully. Every time she sees you, her eyes look different. Love isn't a sudden impulse, nor something you only cherish after losing it, I said. Real love is sustained effort and respect. Alicia nodded. I get it. But people can change too, right? That evening, I received a message from Willow. There's an important meeting at work tomorrow, so it might run late. But I made a reservation for Friday night and would like to treat you to dinner. Consider it a thank you for lending me your photography books. After hesitating for a moment, I replied, all right, see you Friday. On Friday night, Willow took me to a quiet Japanese restaurant. She was dressed simply and elegantly, with light makeup, looking composed and refined. The sashimi here is very fresh. I hope you like it, she said. When did you start liking Japanese food? I asked. I remembered she used to dislike raw dishes. About half a year ago, she said with a smile. I attended a workshop with a Japanese designer, and he brought us here to eat. I was surprised to find that I actually liked it. Life is full of unexpected discoveries, isn't it? We talked about many things: work, photography, books and movies we'd seen recently. The atmosphere throughout dinner was relaxed and pleasant, like two old friends catching up. There was no awkwardness, no forced effort, everything felt natural. After dinner, she walked me home. When we reached downstairs, she handed me a USB drive. What's this? Some materials I organized on photographic composition and post-processing. They might help you, she said softly. Also, I might be moving out soon. I froze for a moment. Moving where? Near my company, she said. The commute is too exhausting. And, she paused. I think it's time to truly set myself free. I didn't know what to say and could only nod. She smiled. Don't worry, I haven't given up on becoming better. I'm just no longer placing my happiness in someone else's hands. Watching her walk away, a complex emotion welled up inside me. Perhaps we had both grown through this relationship. Chapter 10. A week later, I went to the office to work overtime over the weekend. By the time I finished handling everything, it was already past 9 in the evening. As I walked out of the building, heavy rain started pouring down. I hadn't brought an umbrella and was hesitating between waiting for the rain to ease up or just running through it when an umbrella was suddenly held out in front of me. Need to share an umbrella? It was Willow. Why are you here? I asked in surprise. I'm working overtime too, she said with a smile. I just happened to see you standing here. I glanced in the direction of her company. Isn't your office in the East District? We're collaborating with your company on a project recently, so we're temporarily working here for a few days, she explained. I was passing by anyway. I took the umbrella and thanked her. I'll give you a ride home. It's on the way, she said, pointing to a car parked nearby. The rain was coming down hard, so I didn't refuse. After getting into the car, she handed me a towel. Dry your hair, or you'll catch a cold. The car was warm, with soft piano music playing. Rain splashed against the windows, blurring the city lights outside and creating a quiet, tranquil atmosphere. You moved? I asked. Yeah, last week, she said while focusing on the road. The new place is much closer to my company. I get to sleep an extra half hour in the mornings. That's nice. Yeah, she chuckled lightly. Life requires making some decisions for yourself. About before. I'm sorry, I suddenly said. Why apologize? She asked, a little surprised. I might have been too absolute, I said. After we broke up, I refused to even be friends with you. That may have been too harsh. You didn't do anything wrong, she said calmly. You needed space and time. Actually, so did I. It was only after moving out that I realized how irrational my behavior had been before. She paused, then continued. Sometimes, loving someone requires rationality more than impulse. I understand that now. By the time we reached my apartment building, the rain had eased considerably. Do you want to come up and sit for a bit? I asked impulsively. She shook her head. No, I have to get up early tomorrow. Another time. Watching her car disappear into the rain, I stood there, My thoughts in turmoil. In the days that followed, Willow and I occasionally messaged each other, chatting about work and everyday life. She no longer tried to pursue me deliberately, but interacted like an ordinary friend. This kind of relationship felt comfortable and natural to me. One time, I saw her post a photo on social media. She was standing on a podium, holding a trophy, her smile confident and radiant. The caption read, "Persistence pays off. Grateful for every setback and every bit of growth." I couldn't help but message her, "Congratulations, what award is it?" "First prize at the National Young Designers Competition," she replied. "I put a lot of effort into that project, and it finally got recognized. I'm really happy for you," I said sincerely. "Thank you. Actually, I wanted to tell you, I'll be going to the US next month for a design exchange program. It'll last 3 months. That's a great opportunity. Yeah, I've always wanted to study advanced ideas abroad. I finally get the chance. Safe travels." "When do you leave?" "In 3 weeks." "Before I go, if you're free, I'd like to treat you to a meal, kind of a farewell." "Of course, anytime." 3 weeks later, on a weekend, we met at an Italian restaurant. Willow looked more confident and composed than ever before. "Is everything packed?" I asked. "Pretty much," she said with a smile. "There's not much to bring, mostly design materials and tools I use often." As we ate, we talked about the new environment and challenges she was about to face. She described the design philosophies and working styles there with excitement, her eyes shining. "You've changed a lot." I couldn't help saying, "Have I?" She smiled. "Maybe because I've found myself again." After dinner, we took a walk together. The night breeze was gentle, and the streetlights stretched our shadows long across the ground. "Thank you," she suddenly said. "For what?" "Because your leaving gave me the chance to rediscover myself," she said sincerely, looking at me. "Sometimes, losing something is another kind of gain. You don't need to thank me," I said. "This is all your own effort." "George, no matter what, meeting you was one of the most beautiful things in my life," she said softly. "Even though we're no longer lovers, you'll always be someone important to me." I looked into her clear eyes and nodded. "You are to me too." On the way back to her place, we talked about future plans. She said she wanted to learn more innovative design methods in the US and maybe open a small studio after returning. As for me, I planned to further develop my photography career and aim to hold a solo exhibition. When we parted, we shared a brief hug. "Take care," I said. "You too," she replied with a smile. "Don't forget to eat on time, and don't stay up too late." Watching her walk into her apartment building, I suddenly realized that perhaps we truly could become something special in each other's lives, not lovers, but closer than ordinary friends. Chapter 11. 1 week after Willow left, I received an internal appointment notice from the company. Because of my outstanding performance on recent projects, I was promoted to technical lead. My colleagues celebrated for me, and Alicia even bought a cake specially to congratulate me. I shared the good news on social media, and soon received congratulations from Willow, sent from the US. "Congratulations on the promotion. I knew you'd be recognized sooner or later. Your abilities are outstanding. Take good care of yourself in the new role, and don't work too hard." We would occasionally video chat. She showed me the scenery in the US and the design studios she worked in. She was adapting well there, making many friends in the design field and learning a lot of new techniques. Seeing her bright smile on the screen, I felt genuinely happy for her growth. 3 months passed quickly. One day, I received a message from Willow. "I'm coming back tomorrow. Would you like to have dinner together if you're free?" I replied, "Welcome back. Anytime works for me." When we met, she brought quite a few specialty items from the US. We chose a quiet cafe, and she excitedly talked about what she had seen and gained during her time abroad. "What was your biggest takeaway?" I asked. She thought for a moment. "Probably learning to appreciate differences, different cultures, different design philosophies, different ways of life. It made me realize there's no absolute right or wrong, only what suits you and what doesn't. That's a profound realization." I nodded. "There's one more important discovery," she continued, looking into my eyes. I clarified my feelings. My heart tightened slightly. "What do you mean?" "I truly loved you, very deeply," she said calmly. "But now I understand that loving someone doesn't necessarily mean possessing them. Sometimes, love can also be blessing and letting go," she went on. "Over these 3 months, I thought about many things. The problems between us weren't just my selfishness and your constant giving. There was also a deeper incompatibility. Our understanding and expression of love were fundamentally different." Listening to her analysis, I was surprised by her clarity and insight. "So," she smiled, "I think we can truly be friends now, without expectations, without ulterior motives, just appreciating and supporting each other." "I'm glad you've reached that understanding," I said. "I've also been thinking that loving someone and being suitable for someone are two different things." She nodded. "Exactly. We both deserve to meet people who are more suited to us." During our conversation, she mentioned that she was preparing to open her own design studio. After returning, She had already found a location and was in the process of setting everything up. If you're interested, you could be our studio's go-to photographer. She joked. My pleasure, I replied with a smile. As we parted, she added, oh, I learned baking while I was in the US. If there's a chance, I'll make something for you to try. I'm looking forward to it, I said. On the day Willow's studio opened, I was invited to take photos. The studio was decorated very much in her style, minimalist yet warm, reflecting her design philosophy in every detail. During the opening ceremony, she gave a confident, poised speech that earned warm applause from the guests. After the ceremony, she came over to me and asked, "Thanks for coming. How did the photos turn out?" "They're great. You looked especially radiant today," I said sincerely. She smiled. "Because I've finally found my position and direction. I'm happy for you, George. There's actually something I've always wanted to say to you." She hesitated for a moment before continuing. "Thank you for being so resolute back then. If you hadn't firmly left, I might never have examined my own problems, and I wouldn't have grown into who I am today. Every relationship helps us grow," I said. "I learned a lot from it too." She gestured toward her studio. "This is my new starting point. What about you? Any new plans?" "I'm planning to hold a photography exhibition at the end of the year, showcasing the work I've shot over the past 2 years." "That's wonderful." Her eyes lit up. "Do you need help designing the promotional materials?" "If you have time." "Of course I do. This is your first solo exhibition. I'll support it with everything I've got." And just like that, we began a new kind of relationship, friends who support each other. She designed beautiful promotional brochures and posters for my exhibition, while I provided professional photography services for her studio projects. We each shone in our own fields, genuinely happy for each other's success. Sometimes, the greatest gain in life isn't acquiring something, but learning how to letting go of obsession, of the past, of immature love. Only then can we move forward lightly and embrace a broader future. Chapter 12. My photography exhibition opened as scheduled, showcasing landscape and documentary works I had shot over the past 2 years. Willow not only designed the promotional materials but also came in person to help set up the venue. On opening day, she brought her studio colleagues to show support and even sent a bouquet of flowers to congratulate me. "I really didn't expect so many people to come," I said, looking at the bustling exhibition hall in surprise. "That's because your work truly moves people," she said sincerely. "Every photo shows your dedication and unique perspective." The exhibition was a great success. I received several commercial photography invitations, and even a magazine reached out hoping for long-term collaboration, gains I had never anticipated. At the celebration dinner, Alicia quietly asked me, "George, what exactly is your relationship with Willow now?" "Friends," I answered simply. "Really just friends." She looked at me skeptically. "You two seem closer than ordinary friends," I smiled and said. "Some relationships don't need a definition." Willow's studio developed smoothly. She built a young, energetic team and landed several design projects with well-known brands. We occasionally collaborated professionally and also attended some industry events together. Before the spring festival, she invited me to her studio's team dinner. "The last project before the new year is finally done. Everyone wants to relax a bit," she said on the phone. "If you're free, come join us." The dinner was lively. Willow's team members were all young and full of energy, chatting and laughing in a warm atmosphere. At some point, someone suggested playing games, with the loser having to drink. During the game, Willow lost several times. Her cheeks gradually flushed, she rarely drank, and after a few glasses she was already slightly tipsy. "I'll take you home," I suggested when I saw her walking unsteadily. "No need. I'll call a car." She waved it off. "Don't push yourself. I won't feel at ease letting you go back alone like this." She glanced at me and nodded. "All right, thanks." In the car, she leaned back against the seat with her eyes closed. Suddenly, she spoke. "George, have you met anyone you like recently?" I was a bit surprised. "Why ask all of a sudden?" "Just curious." She opened her eyes. "You're so outstanding. There must be lots of people who like you." "I've been too busy with work to really think about that." She was silent for a moment, then asked again, if Alicia confessed to you, would you accept?" "Why do you ask that?" "The way she looks at you, it's obvious she likes you," Willow said softly. "And she's great, cheerful, sunny, talented." "We're just friends and colleagues," I said. "Besides, right now I want to focus more on my career." She nodded and closed her eyes again. When we reached her place, she suddenly grabbed my hand. "George, thank you." "For what?" "For coming to the dinner tonight, for taking me home, for all your support over the years." Her eyes shimmered under the streetlight. "I'm really lucky to know you." "Me too," I said gently. She hesitated, then stood on her tiptoes and lightly kissed my cheek. "Good night. Happy New Year." Then she quickly turned around, opened the door, and went inside. At that moment, my heartbeat suddenly quickened, a familiar yet unfamiliar feeling surging up inside me. During the spring festival, I went back to my hometown to spend time with my parents. Willow sent New Year wishes and even mailed gifts to my parents. They were thoughtful, a warm scarf for my mother and a tea set for my father. Practical gifts they would genuinely like. Did your girlfriend send these? My mother asked, holding the scarf. No, just a friend, I explained. What kind of friend is this thoughtful? Even knowing exactly what we like, my mother gave me a meaningful look. Are you hiding something from us? Really, just a friend, I said helplessly. Good friends are nice too. My mother didn't press further, just smiled. Next time, bring her home to visit. On the day I returned, I saw a familiar figure in the station waiting area, Willow. She was also pulling a suitcase, clearly just back from her hometown. What a coincidence. I walked over. She saw me and smiled. Yeah, I just got back too. Was your trip smooth? Pretty smooth. Just a bit of traffic. How about you? She stuck out her tongue. Lots of snow where I was. The train was delayed for 2 hours, but I made it back safely. I helped her with her luggage. Let's go together. I drove here. In the car, she showed me photos she had taken back home, snowy landscapes, rural scenery, and group shots with her family. The photos were well done, with solid composition and lighting. Your photography has improved a lot, I praised sincerely, learning from the master. She laughed. Oh, by the way, when I went home this time, my mom specifically asked about you, about me. She asked if you were doing well, whether work was going smoothly. She said a bit shyly, my mom has always liked you. I nodded. My mom asked about you too. She even said she'd like to invite you over sometime. Really? Her eyes lit up, then dimmed slightly. But maybe it's not very appropriate now. Why wouldn't it be? Friends visiting each other is perfectly normal. She glanced at me and softly said, That night, after dropping her off, I drove back to my apartment alone. Standing by the window and looking out at the city lights, I began thinking about the relationship between us. Perhaps some feelings don't need to be deliberately defined, letting them unfold naturally is enough. Chapter 13. At the beginning of the new year, my photography studio began its preparations. While Willow's design studio also welcomed a wave of major projects. We were both incredibly busy, meeting less often, but we stayed in touch. One night, I worked overtime until very late and didn't get home until after 11. Just as I was about to rest, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, it was Willow, holding an insulated bag. It's so late, what's up? I asked, a little puzzled. I heard you've been busy with the new studio lately. You probably haven't had time to eat properly, she said, lifting the bag in her hand. I made some beef noodle soup. Eat it while it's hot. I let her in. She moved skillfully around the kitchen, portioning out the noodles and broth. The aroma quickly filled the room. You probably haven't eaten either. Right, let's eat together, I said. She nodded. I really am hungry. We sat at the dining table, eating noodles and catching up. She told me her studio had taken on an international brand project, stressful, but full of challenges. I shared the progress of setting up my new studio and some creative ideas I had. Actually, I have an idea, she said suddenly. We could consider collaborating. Your photography studio and my design studio complement each other. We could take on bigger projects together. I thought about it. That's a good idea. Right, she said excitedly. You handle the photography. I handle the design. We could even share resources and clients. I've already drafted a cooperation proposal. I'll send it to you to take a look. Seeing her animated expression, I couldn't help smiling. You're always full of ideas. You're not lacking ideas either. She laughed. That City Memories photography project you mentioned before, I thought it was especially creative. After we finished eating, I insisted on walking her out. No need. I drove here, she said while tidying up the dishes. It's too late. I won't feel at ease letting you drive alone. All right then, just walk me downstairs. The residential area was quiet under the night sky. Streetlights stretched our shadows long across the ground, merging them together. George, she suddenly stopped and called out to me. I've been thinking about something. What is it? What exactly are we now? She looked straight into my eyes. Not lovers, yet closer than ordinary friends. Sometimes I'm really confused. I was silent for a moment before speaking. A relationship doesn't need a label. What matters is that we both feel comfortable and natural. But, she hesitated. What is it? Nothing. She shook her head and smiled. You're right. There's no need to force a definition. As long as we're both happy, that's enough. When we reached her car, she suddenly added, oh, by the way, next Saturday is my studio's first anniversary celebration. You have to come. I definitely will, I promised. That Saturday, I brought a carefully chosen gift, a limited edition set of design books, and arrived at Willow's studio. The celebration venue was creatively arranged, reflecting her design style in every detail. During the event, Willow, as the founder, gave a brief speech thanking her team and clients for their support. She spoke confidently and carried herself with ease, the image of a successful professional woman. Watching her shine on stage, I felt genuinely happy for her growth and achievements. After the celebration, Willow came over and said, "Thank you for coming. I really like the gift. It's exactly the set I've wanted for a long time. I knew you liked this designer," I said with a smile. "Let's go have dinner together. I've made a reservation," she suggested. Sure. The restaurant was a private dining spot hidden in a narrow alley, quiet and elegant. "Today is a special day," she said. "Not just because it's the studio's first anniversary, but also because." "Because of what?" "Because it's also the 9th anniversary of when we met," she said softly. "Do you remember? 9 years ago today. We met in the school cafeteria over a piece of matcha cake." I was surprised she still remembered. "You have a great memory. Because it's important," she said with a gentle smile. "Meeting you was one of the most beautiful accidents in my life." After dinner, she said mysteriously, "There's one more place I want to take you." I followed her to a baking studio. She took out a membership card from her bag and swiped it to open the door. "This is a baking class I booked," she said with a smile. "More precisely, a private customized session. And today, we're making matcha cake," I guessed. "Smart." She blinked. "It's to commemorate how we met." Over the next 2 hours, under the guidance of a professional instructor, we made a matcha cake together. Willow was clearly experienced, moving with practiced ease. I, on the other hand, was a complete beginner, getting flour everywhere. "You look like a snowman," she laughed, reaching over to wipe the flour off my face. I couldn't help laughing too. "I didn't expect baking to be this fun." "Right," she said. "It's a hobby I picked up in the US. Whenever I'm in a bad mood or under a lot of pressure, I come here and make some desserts. Focusing on the process makes you forget all your worries." The cake came out of the oven, its aroma filling the room. We carefully decorated it, sprinkling matcha powder and white chocolate shavings on top. "Try it," she said, cutting a small piece for me. The slight bitterness of the matcha blended perfectly with the sweetness of the cream, soft and delicate in texture. "Is it good?" she asked expectantly. "It's amazing," I said sincerely. "Much better than the one from 9 years ago." She laughed happily. "Then I guess we've successfully completed this commemorative ritual." On the way home, she was unusually quiet. When we reached downstairs at my place, she hesitated for a moment and said, "George, there's actually something I wanted to tell you today." "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "Over the past year or so, I've really changed a lot. I've learned to be independent, to respect others, and to express my feelings honestly." I nodded. "I can tell. You're more confident now, more decisive than before." "Yes, and I'm also much clearer about what I want," she said, looking straight into my eyes. "George, I want to tell you that I still love you. Not the insecure, possessive kind of love, but a more mature, more equal kind." I froze, not knowing how to respond. "I'm not asking you to give me an answer right away," she continued. "I just want you to know how I feel. Whatever your decision is, I'll respect it." "Willow, don't rush to answer," she said softly, pressing a finger lightly to my lips. "Think it through carefully, and tell me when you've truly made up your mind. I'm not in a hurry." With that, she stood on her tiptoes and gently kissed my cheek. "Good night, George. Sweet dreams." Then she turned and walked away, her figure gradually fading into the night. I stood there, my heart filled with a mix of emotions. Chapter 14. Willow's confession plunged me into deep thought. Over the past year and more, we had indeed built a special kind of connection. There was the honesty and support of friendship, and also an indescribable sense of intimacy. I found myself unconsciously paying attention to her every move, feeling happy for her successes and worried about her troubles. Was this love? Or was it merely habit and dependence? To sort out my thoughts, I decided to take a solo trip to the seaside. This was always my way of thinking, seeking answers in nature. The wind by the sea was strong. Waves crashed against the rocks with a thunderous roar. Sitting on the beach, I recalled everything between Willow and me, from our first meeting, to 7 years of love, to the breakup, and then to rediscovering each other. Every stage had made us grow and change. I took out my camera and photographed the magnificent seascape before me. Through the lens, things seemed clearer. Life is like the ocean, sometimes calm, sometimes raging with storms. What matters is that no matter what we go through, we can maintain inner calm and clarity. 3 days later, I returned to the city and made my decision. I sent Willow a message. "Do you have time to meet and talk?" She replied quickly, "Anytime." "You pick the place." I chose the cafe where we had gone on our first date. When I arrived, she was already there, holding a cup of Americano and quietly gazing out the window. "Have you been waiting long?" I sat down across from her. "I just got here." She smiled. "Where did you go these past few days? I couldn't reach you at all." "I went to the seaside to clear my head," I explained. "No signal." The waiter brought my latte. I took a small sip, then looked straight into her eyes and spoke. "Willow, about what you said last time, you've thought it through." Her expression was calm, but I could see her nervousness. I nodded. "I've been thinking a lot about our relationship." "And?" she asked. "I think we can try starting over," I said slowly. "Not going back to the past, but beginning a completely new relationship, built on mutual respect and growing together. A flicker of joy passed through her eyes, but she quickly steadied herself. Are you sure? I don't want you to do this out of pity or habit. I'm very sure, I interrupted. Over this past year, watching your growth and changes has made me reflect on myself as well. Maybe the breakup back then was necessary. It gave us both the chance to become better versions of ourselves. And now, we can face each other again with a new mindset and identity. Then, she asked hesitantly, are you saying you still love me too? Yes, I love you, I said, reaching out to hold her hand. Not a blind, dependent kind of love, but a more rational and mature one. I love your talent, your strength, your drive, and also your flaws and imperfections. Her eyes filled with tears. George, I thought I had lost you forever. Maybe some people are meant to separate and reunite, I said softly, so they can truly learn how to cherish each other. Then what are we now? She asked. Boyfriend and girlfriend, I smiled. But this time, we need to set some new rules. Like what? Like respecting each other's space and time, communicating honestly, and never taking each other for granted, and supporting each other's careers and dreams, she added. Exactly, I nodded. We're no longer the immature people we once were. This time, let's create a healthier, more equal relationship together. She gripped my hand tightly. I promise you, this time, I'll prove my change and determination with actions. So will I. We smiled at each other, as if we had returned to the moment of our first meeting, full of anticipation and possibility. When we stepped out of the cafe, a light rain had begun to fall. I opened my umbrella, and she naturally slipped her arm through mine as we walked side by side. George, do you believe in fate? She suddenly asked. Not completely. I thought for a moment before answering. I believe more that life is shaped by our choices and actions. But some encounters really do feel destined, she said with a smile. Like us, after going in circles, we still found our way back to each other. Maybe, I said, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. What matters is that no matter what lies ahead, we face it together. The rain gradually stopped, and sunlight broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the wet streets. Willow stopped, took a small box out of her bag, and handed it to me. What's this? I asked curiously. Open it. Inside was a pair of simple silver bracelets, identical in design. I thought this time, we could wear them together, as a symbol of our new beginning, she said, taking one out and fastening it around my wrist. Like a promise that no matter what we go through, we'll never forget how precious this reclaimed love is. I helped her put on the other one. All right, it's a promise. In a way, this meant more than a ring. It wasn't a shackle, but a commitment freely chosen.